Thank you for joining us.
Hi, George.
This morning. We saw a lot from the president on Twitter before the James Comey interview. Did he watch last night? What's his reaction?
I spoke with the president before the interview, and the president reminded me that Jim Comey said publicly that he felt nervous before he met the president, admitted that to you. What we don't understand is why, if you're going to meet the president of the United States, the president-elect, you're not saying, my ticker list is, I've got to tell him about the Russian interference. I must tell him about the investigations that are ongoing. Instead, he takes time to talk about the size of his hands and the length of his tie. That's really gutter. And the fact that Mr. Comey admitted to you that he allowed polling and politics to influence his decision is much why Rod Rosenstein, the Deputy Attorney General, in a scathing memo on May 9th, and other former attorneys general, had called for Mr. Comey to step aside because they felt like he can no longer hold up the values of the FBI. He admitted to you that he purposely leaked information to a friend so that it would get into the media and trigger a special counsel. This guy swung an election. He thought the wrong person would win. His people in his household wanted the other person to win. And now, at the end of your interview, George, he gave a free political commercial telling people to go out there and vote against the president and his interest. I think he struggled to answer basic questions, and he looked a little shaky. He also, I really was very struck that when he was meeting with the president, it's 3 very limited meetings with the President of the United States. I thought to myself, you waited 2 months as the FBI director to go and meet with the president-elect, and then you waited nearly a year to tell the country what was on your mind. If he really felt like he was saving the country rather than selling books, why did he wait until an interview with you not under oath and selling a book not under oath?
Well, he actually answered a lot of those questions under oath before the Senate Judiciary Committee last year as well.
And then they had to correct his testimony. They had to correct his testimony. He said there were hundreds of thousands of confidential emails on Huma Abedin and Anthony Weiner's server, and the FBI had to immediately correct his testimony. There were a handful. He's an admitted leaker. And I think what really strikes people last night is when you have a private audience with the president, you should use that time to discuss major law enforcement, counterterrorism issues of the day. Instead, it sounds like he's taking notes for a future book.
Well,
and if he's truly troubled about his interactions,
I've given you a fair amount of time there to throw a lot out on that. First of all, he was saying that in that February 14th meeting with the president, he did give him a counterintelligence briefing, and it was the president who asked him to stand back after asking everyone else to leave the room, and that's when the president, according to James Comey, asked him to let said he would hope that he would let the Flynn investigation go. I know the president has denied that.
That's
what
right.
we have from James Comey on all of his encounters with the president are notes, his contemporaneous conversations with others in the FBI. We know that all of that has been given to Robert Mueller. Does the president have any evidence to back up his side of the story?
I watched Jim Comey tell you last night he agreed with the president that Mike Flynn was, quote, a good guy, a good man. The president has made very clear that he never asked anyone to interfere in an investigation. And Jim Comey had admitted that in testimony, that nobody here had ever asked him to drop an investigation for political reasons. He admitted that before he was fired.
I have to stop you there, because that is not correct either. What James Comey was asked about in the Senate is whether the Attorney General or anyone at the Justice Department ever asked him to stop an investigation. He said no. He was not asked about the president. What he has consistently said about the president is that he took those comments from the president about Michael Flynn as direction. That has been his consistent story.
And George, what did he do with it?
He's never changed it.
George, excuse me, what did he do with it? Did he run out and tell the Attorney General, please come in here, I feel uncomfortable? Did he call back the Vice President? No. This man, Jim Comey, loves to be within the proximity of power. He loves having dinner alone with the President. If he hadn't, he should have invited someone or asked who else was going to be there. He loved being alone in the Oval Office. He wanted a piece of it. He loved being in the proximity of power until he got fired and then wrote a book. And let's be very honest, these are high-stakes issues that are going on. This is somebody who admitted to you last night that he leaked information, that the House investigators are looking for those memos. Why does the New York Times have a right to get the leaked information and not the House and the House committees who represent all of us? What's fair is fair.
We have to go. I just want to go back to my first question, because you said you talked to the president before the interview. Did he watch the interview? Does he have any reaction to that?
I think he's aware of some of the excerpts, and his reaction is the same as it was when he saw excerpts earlier, which is, this is somebody who's not under oath in interviews and writing a book, and this is somebody who is giving a revisionist version of history The president hardly knew the man. The president said that, and the president answered within days of their interaction in a press conference for all to see. You played the clip last night that he did not ask him to stop any investigation. The president is very confounded that this person is always able to divert the spotlight to him, whether it's the July 5th press conference, it's the October 28th announcement about the Hillary Clinton investigation being reopened. He has a very deft way of making things about him, and he ran an FBI department that has 25,000 rank-and-file men and women who are very honorable, but had a lot of folks like Strzok and Page and Orr and his wife who were against this president and were for Hillary Clinton, and he let that cloud his judgment.
Kellyanne, Conway, thanks for your time this morning.
Thank
Robin?
you.